Hey guys, Luke C here with TFBTV Showtime. Welcome back to GunCon 2025 here in Cleveland, Ohio. I am here, of course, with the original Ohio man, Mr. Dave Kawaka from HiPoint Firearms. Dave, what's up, man?
Nice, man. I like that intro. That's solid.
Yeah. It's nice to be in your home state.
Yeah, it's kind of cool for once. You don't come here very often, it feels like.
Yeah, we got a little bit of rain this morning, cooled things off a little bit. I mean, range day was pretty hot, but...
Range day was very hot, but it was great, though.
Range day was also very hot because you brought some hot new products out there, including the new HP-15, which we talked about at SHOT Show. So
yes, we did.
Dave, kind of give us the state of the union of HiPoint when it comes to the HP-15. Are these still on track to roll out?
Yeah. So being that we're at GunCon right now, it's Saturday. These things are probably 2 weeks or less out. We should be getting the first shipment out to distribution this coming week. So it's what today's Saturday. So like on Monday, we should be getting these out to distribution, and from there they'll be getting them out to dealers. So maybe it could be end of next week, but really probably in the following. So
happy Independence Day, everybody.
Right. That's when people are like, man, that's for Independence Day. I'm like, oh, it is. I'm like, that's cool.
Celebrate 4th of July by buying the most American firearm that there is right now, the HP-15.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
So let's recap real quick for those out there who don't know. You guys obviously primarily make the 995 HiPoint carbines, and of course the 9Cs, the Yeet cannon, and all that stuff. Yeah. Everyone knows and loves you for your working man's guns. The working man's AR-15 is which I called it. A lot of controversy on that, by the way.
Oh, sure.
For some reason at SHOT Show. I don't know why. When you was like a $500 completed 16-inch AR.
MSRP on this guy is $499. I know at NRA we were trying to keep everything sub 500. So the rifle itself will be $499 MSRP, whereas the pistols are both going to be $539. So they're a little over that, but it's not going to break you. I mean, come on.
Right. And let's talk about you guys did say you were being completely honest and candid with us. Some of these parts aren't yours, but you guys are working in more of that. And that's a theme I've been hearing from other companies, the vertical integration to try to bring the cost down for the customer, because that's ultimately what it does, right?
Yep, that really is. So that's the big question we've been asked a lot is, are we making this thing in-house? And the answer is right now, no, we're not making it in-house.
Right.
We are getting parts from multiple suppliers, and our guys are assembling the guns from tip to butt all the way through. So they're learning how to set your gas blocks and how to torque everything down like the castle nuts. They're learning all of it, and they have learned it. So it's not like we're buying somebody's lower, buying somebody's upper, and we're just slapping together going, yeah, HiPoint built this. No. They're actually truly building these guns and torquing everything down as they should.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll build it all in-house, but for now, we're just not going to. It takes time to spool up. But since the announcement of this at NRA, it's amazing this industry, if you're on the outside, sometimes you think we're probably all fighting with each other, and we're really not. We're all really pretty friendly with each other.
Yeah.
Every company that actually manufactures stuff for the ARs was like, do you guys need this? Do you need this? Do you need this? Here's prices on this. And we're like, holy crap. This is cool.
Yeah, everyone kind of wants to contribute to the project, it was kind of a curveball at SHOT Show. No one was I did not have HiPoint AR-15 on my bingo card.
Nobody did. We absolutely loved it for that, because we've been working on this for a couple of years, to get this going. It was a couple of years of talk, and it was a couple of years of really getting it going and starting doing it, and then just kind of quietly drop it out there. That was a good big shock for everybody.
Being HiPoint as a more budget conscious company, and AR-15's kind of having a more or less fixed price point for a completed rifle. What was your guys' main point of focus when you were getting the HP-15 ready? Are you focusing more on the value aspect, or just making sure that every rifle is just functional, or what's the goal?
It is a little bit of both. So obviously we're known for a lot of people as their first firearm, whether it's the handguns or the carbines. But now, so if that's the case, then you're buying the 995 carbine. That's your first carbine you get into. You want to get rifle calibers. Where you're going? You're leaving us typically. You're going to any other brand, pick one. I don't care who it is.
Right, okay.
So if we do an AR-15, then we're keeping it in our ecosystem. Why not? And we're giving you a rifle that's going to serve you well and last you a while. So it's going to run. It's going to work well. But you're staying with us. You're staying with HiPoint.
Right.
And then the budget bit, I had a couple comments at NRA. People were like, well, you're not the cheapest AR. We're like, we're not trying to be. If you need to save more money, look to the 995. Look to the 4095, whichever of our pistol cal carbines. Look to that for your absolute budget. But this still at $49 is still pretty budget friendly. But it's getting you in the rifle platform. So that's
so. Would you say that the HP-15 is supposed to be you guys want it to be someone's first AR?
Yeah, really and truly we do. Again, if HiPoint guns are your intro, then you want to get your first AR. It might as well be ours too. You've already experienced, our firearm. So why not make it an AR then?
Right. And so is that more or less why you guys are sticking with this is you can argue that M-LOK is not so standard. I mean, maybe it is now. Like, I grew up in the pick rail days, so
Right, same.
quad rails. But standard M-LOK forend, A2 grip, M4 carbine stock. Like, you guys are keeping it all the way because I think you're expecting people like, hey, I'm going to buy an AR-15.
Right.
Oh, maybe I want to replace the pistol grip. Maybe I want to replace the stock.
I mean, doing things like the stock and pistol grip are the simplest things of this cost. A2 grips are obviously the most affordable. And whether you like them or not doesn't matter because you can replace it inexpensively.
Yeah.
But if we put a better grip on there, it kicks the cost of the gun up more. And we're like, we don't want to do that. So, yeah, stock and grip is to be absolute price point. Handguard is to be a little bit nicer because really, what are your cheapest ones are usually old school M4 setup with the polymer handguard.
Yeah,
That's, while it's fine, it really is. If you decide you want to change the things out, we all know that makes it more complicated if you run the old school setup.
Well, you need a D-ring and all that other
stuff.
Yeah, like, you're not working with a normal castle nut.
Yeah, exactly. And so then this way you're getting something a little bit on the nicer end.
Yeah. No, and I think it's more fitting for what, more reflective, I guess, of the modern gun owner, right?
Yeah.
Like no one for their first rifle is going to be after an A2.
No, at that point you're getting into like
SP1.
retro stuff because you like some specific aesthetic from something else.
Yeah.
No, we're not trying to do that.
So last thing on the HP-15, I know we talked about it at a SHOT Show. It's very well known that HiPoint is great at hydro dipping. Are you guys still planning on hydro dipping the AR-15s or not? Because I would really love to see like a Tiger Stripe HiPoint AR-15. Maybe. So in other news, we got the HP-15.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations on getting that out, by the way. Like, the AR-15 market is not like an easy market to just jump into. So I have a lot of respect for you guys for doing it. You are absolute mad lads. I think I said that at SHOT Show too. But so Inland Manufacturing, which is basically like a sister company or basically kind of the same environment.
Well, it's because I work for MKS Supply, which is the marketing and distribution arm of HiPoint.
Right.
So because we're a marketing and distribution company, we also know the guys at Inland we have for a long time.
Yep.
We do all their marketing and distribution as well.
Okay.
And they're in Dayton. We're in Dayton because HiPoint's out of Mansfield.
Ohio strong.
It really is an Ohio strong thing. So Inland is obviously known for their M1 carbines, but yeah, they've gotten more and more into the suppressor line. For a couple of years, they had the PM22 as their polymer monocore suppressor.
Right.
And it's a great little can, but it's funny, like there's a whole perceived value because I think the can, we used to sold it for like $200, tax stamp $200, but then at that point you were talking, it was the year turnaround. But Ron had
not a smart investment.
Right. So now though, when you go to, this is the AM22, so it's aluminum core. It's the exact same thing as the PM22, but aluminum core. Price point's like $350, and that perceived value, it's like, people go, $350? Yeah, I'm gonna buy that one. Obviously, and tax stamps on top of it. But the cool thing is the AM22 was rated up to like 5.7 pressures.
Yeah.
So you can put this thing on a bit variety more than what the PM22 could do.
So it's a monocore design, obviously user serviceable, which
Right.
makes a lot of sense for rimfire stuff. Right. Did you guys try to focus on like any particular aspect, like in terms of sound suppression or maybe gas blowback? I know like this is the difficult part because rimfire suppressors are kind of like their own niche within the suppressor thing, right?
Ron's a neat guy, and he's the kind of guy I wish he was here for this. Only he'd be extremely long-winded on it, because he would go off on his level of let's talk about this. This is like, oh my gosh, man, what'd we do? He wanted lightweight. He wanted to, good sound, which it's cool too. Is he asked me, he goes, Dave, what do you think about putting out all these sound numbers? I was like, dude, it's all subjective. It's like, what's the temperature? Are you indoors? Are you outdoors? Are you outdoors? Is it out in the open? Is it enclosed in the woods? Is it, there's so many variables with doing that. It's like
supers or subs.
Right. Like, is this thing hearing safe? Yes, it's hearing safe.
Yeah.
You're still gonna get a little crack out of your supers, obviously. But he also wanted a really slimline profile. It's like we had this on a Ruger Mark IV. And it looks almost like it's an integral suppressor almost.
Right, because it's got the same diameter.
Yeah, and everybody loved it. It's like, this just looks so well. We're like, it's got
it kind of stole the show from the HP-15 at your booth at Range Day because everyone's like, wait, there's suppressors here? When did this happen? So let's talk about this again real quick. So aluminum monocore interior.
Yes.
Like just the entire baffle stack is one thing.
Yes.
And then your end caps and your body, are those steel or are those also aluminum?
Body's aluminum, and then we've got the steel threading for your muzzle. And there's actually, I call it like your blast baffle more or less, but on the end of the monocore is a steel, basically one baffle, so it's taking either all the real
So near the front.
Yeah, on the inside of it, yeah.
That's perfect, because I was about to ask you, you're talking aluminum monocore and 5.7.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's going to wear down really quick, but I guess you guys are defeating that on the front end, and then the aluminum can take it from the rest
steel in the back end and steel on the very end of the monocore itself. Yeah, steel will take all that heat. take the real work out of it, you know, and then the aluminum then holds up for the rest of it.
Are there any barrel length restrictions for 5.7?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge, okay.
Which
I think the shortest you're getting is 5 inches.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I know he shot it on Smith or Ruger's 5.7 pistol, and it's like, does anybody really make short 5.7 pistols? So it's like,
not yet.
Yeah, right. So I'm gonna say no.
HiPoint 5.7.
No.
No. Oh, there you go. You heard it. They said no.
Oh, we can change our minds. Come on, we can do what we want.
But the 22, I guess like the AM22, the rimfire suppressor, if you want to call it, even though it's 5.7, that's just the beginning, right? Because we have another one coming down the line as well.
We do.
So available now.
Yep.
And about how much?
MSRP is $350.
Okay, so you're not the cheapest rimfire suppressor either, which is fine because I think we just demonstrated there's added value. You're doing 5.7 as well.
Yeah.
Cool. And the next one, what do we got here?
This is called the ICANN. This is the ICANN 2. This is a pre-production sample. Literally ICANN, yes.
ICANN 2.
Yes.
We talk about Me Too products, but this is literally the Me Too product. ICANN 2.
And I love it. It's Ron's sense of humor. He goes, "What do you think if I call my can the ICANN? You have the iPhone, the iPad." And I was like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" I was like, "I actually love that." So the ICANN is actually a shorter one, which we had on a 995P yesterday.
Okay.
And the ICANN 2 is the longer can here. That is 30 cal rated. So I had this on the HP-15. Had it on this HP-15. Both for Shoot Monday I was at and yesterday, and between these two, I think we're pushing about 1,000 rounds through between the 2 days. And now while I wasn't doing much, no ear pro, shooting yesterday, I did a little bit Monday. It was under a steel covered building. Very little, I still get a little tinnitus ring, but not bad. So I'm gonna say it's a pretty solid quiet can, and it's lightweight as well.
Yeah, and you guys, I think you mentioned yesterday when we were shooting it. This is a traditional baffle design.
This one is, yes.
You guys aren't chasing after the flow through stuff or ounces or anything like that. You guys are. I almost like to call it. If I were going to make a suppressor and make it like this, I would just call it the KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. It is intentionally just to be a very well-rounded can.
Right.
Because I have some other rifle cans that are I don't say extremely heavy, but that kind of sounds like I'm being weak. But heavier cans on the front end, but run the scene on a 16-inch gun, you never really feel that it was there.
Yeah. Is that a tri-lug adapter for the mounting system there?
Yeah, this is a tri-lug. So these cans will be hub compatible. Like this one is hub compatible.
Okay.
And I think right now Inland's looking at using this as a Breeklocks tri-lug. So it is just a tri-lug mount that ratchets down in.
So will the retail version come with its own mount?
My understanding at this point is it's going to come with the tri-lug setup, and it will have a direct thread hub mount as well.
Oh, okay, so you get the direct thread for those who want direct thread, and then if you want QD, you get a muzzle device and the. Wow, that's pretty cool.
And the MSRP on this thing is going to be like $550.
Really, $500? Wow,
$550.
Yeah, $550. Maybe 4th of July sale would make it $500.
Yeah, maybe.
So $550 for this, $350 for the AM22, and then everything is around $500, $550.
We kind of had a funny meeting. He was talking about his price point on these things, and we're like, "Dude, are you trying to put it in the same price point as the AR?" I'm like, "Because that's pretty cool." And he was like, "No, I'm just building these things, and it's a good price point to sell it at." And we're like, "Yeah, it is."
It makes it easy on the budget. You can I can afford $550 this month for the rifle, and then I can buy the suppressor next.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, thank you for showing us everything, man. It's always good to talk to you. The
always,
HP-15, I'm super excited for that. You can probably expect to see at least a rifle on TFBTV. I'm sure me and Hop will tear one apart, or James will. I don't know. Someone's gonna break one.
I'll say it. I sent James a pistol. He's got a pistol, and maybe I'll send you a rifle if you want.
Yeah. Well, we need to tear apart everything to see where the wheels come off the tracks. And then, of course, the suppressor is always impressive. It's always great to talk to you, Dave. We always have something interesting to talk about.
Thanks, buddy. I love it.
Yeah, and to you guys out there watching TFBTV Showtime, thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for more from GunCon 2025 at TFBTV and TFBTV Showtime.